From declaring war on Gordon Ramsay on his very first day...
Are you mad?
Me and him, we're gonna go head to head. Without a fucking doubt.
To challenging him to a physical fight that got him kicked off the show.
Let's go step outside, motherfucker. You wanna talk about fucking fighting?
Oh, wow.
You wanna get fucking rough?
Do you think I'm scared? Huh?
This is the shocking story of how Joseph Tinnelly's massive ego and complete lack of respect led to one of the most embarrassing exits in Hell's Kitchen history. Joseph Tinnelly walked into Hell's Kitchen Season 6 thinking he was God's gift to cooking. This arrogant chef from New York believed he was destined for greatness and that nobody, not even Gordon Ramsay himself, could stand in his way. What followed was a 3-episode disaster that would go down as one of the most spectacular meltdowns ever captured on reality television. But Joseph's journey to infamy started the moment he opened his mouth. Right from the beginning, Joseph showed exactly who he was. When Season 5 winner Colleen gave the new contestants some friendly advice about always tasting their food, Joseph's response was pure sarcasm. He mockingly said he hoped somebody would show him how to tie his shoelaces, treating helpful advice like it was beneath him.
I really could use those tips. I'm hoping later that maybe you can teach me how to tie my shoelaces. Come on now.
This was a glimpse into Joseph's mindset. Here was a chef who couldn't accept basic tips from someone who had actually won the competition. His ego was so big that he saw experienced advice as an insult to his intelligence. When Gordon Ramsay introduced himself and ordered all the chefs to cook their signature dishes, the challenge format was different this time. For the first time ever, the signature dish challenge would occur as a regular team challenge, with each contestant going head-to-head against someone from the opposite team. Joseph was the third person from the blue team to have his dish judged by Ramsay, going up against Tinnelly from the red team. Before revealing his dish, Joseph made a statement that perfectly captured his dangerous confidence. He said he felt like a dog who was just taken off his leash and that he was hungry for the prize. He declared that he wanted it and that none of the other chefs would get in his way. This was classic Joseph, all swagger and threats, but no substance to back it up. He presented a roasted veal chop with vegetables, and while the meat was cooked perfectly, his Brussels sprouts were completely undercooked. It was a basic mistake that any professional chef should have caught.
Lovely colour on there.
Thank you.
And the vegetables? What a shame the Brussels sprouts are rock hard. Are they supposed to be that crunchy?
No.
Huh?
Then Joseph made a decision that should have gotten him kicked off immediately. When Ramsay asked him to taste the undercooked sprout to understand the problem, Joseph's reaction was immediate and completely over the top. Instead of simply tasting the food like any normal chef would do, Joseph went completely defensive. He demanded a fork, stating that because he was not an animal, he would not eat with his bare hands. This was already a bizarre overreaction to a simple request from a head chef. Ramsay was asking him to taste his own cooking to understand what went wrong, but Joseph treated this basic culinary practice like it was beneath his dignity. What happened next made Joseph only the second contestant in Hell's Kitchen history to be directly confronted by Ramsay during the signature dish challenge. The first was Seth from Season 5, but even Seth hadn't been this aggressive. In a moment of pure arrogance, Joseph essentially declared war on Gordon Ramsay. He said that both of them would go head-to-head without a doubt, and that Ramsay would be training him in the parking lot at some point. This was a direct threat of violence from a contestant to the head chef. The fact that Joseph made this threat over some undercooked Brussels sprouts showed how completely out of touch with reality he was. He was ready to fight one of the most respected chefs in the world because he couldn't handle basic criticism of his cooking. Despite this shocking display of aggression, Joseph somehow wasn't eliminated immediately. He lost his individual challenge to Tinnelly, but his team managed to win the overall challenge 3-2. This gave Joseph a false sense that his behavior was acceptable when it should have been a clear warning. The blue team's reward was a dinner on the Hell's Kitchen patio, where they would eat dishes from Ramsay's London West Hollywood restaurant in Los Angeles. During the dinner, Joseph showed his true colors once again. He made a toast to the women who were cleaning, stating they were where they should be.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Cheers. Yeah, the women clean where they should be at. Cheers.
The blue team partied hard that night, and Joseph was right in the middle of it all. They drank too much and didn't study the menu, which would come back to haunt them during service. But Joseph didn't seem to care about preparation or teamwork. During dinner service, Joseph's problems became impossible to ignore. Joseph was assigned to the garnish station with Dave, which should have been a straightforward position for an experienced chef. But almost immediately problems started arising. At one point, Ramsay asked him why Louis was cooking the spinach for him instead of doing it himself. Joseph's answer was telling. He simply said he didn't know. It was the response of someone who wasn't taking responsibility for his own actions. When Joseph asked if he and Louis could switch stations, Ramsey refused the request. More importantly, Ramsey told Joseph that he was being made to look like an idiot during service. This was a direct criticism of Joseph's performance, and his response showed everything wrong with his attitude.
Listen to me, yeah.
Yes.
My fucking kitchen,
Absolutely.
my fucking restaurant.
All right.
Hey, and right now, big boy, hey, I'm looking like a fucking idiot.
I got it.
Joseph's tone was aggressive rather than receptive. He was just angry that he was being called out for his poor performance. A professional chef would have thanked Ramsey for the feedback and worked to improve, but Joseph took it as a personal attack. Later in the service, after Louis got kicked out of the kitchen, Joseph acknowledged that Louis was lost and out of his league. This was typical Joseph behavior, always ready to criticize others while never examining his own performance. When Ramsey was forced to shut down both kitchens due to poor performance from both teams, Joseph declared that he had never had a service like that before, and that it was a complete and utter nightmare. For once he was right about something, but he still couldn't see his own role in creating that nightmare. The blue team was declared the winners for serving a few entrees compared to the red team's 0. But this was hardly a victory to celebrate. Joseph had survived his first service, but his attitude problems were getting worse, not better. But the next challenge would prove that Joseph's first day behavior wasn't just nerves. The second episode began with both teams gathering in the blue kitchen for the firefighter pasta meal service challenge. While Ramsey was explaining the challenge, Joseph immediately showed his arrogance by declaring that it was a very easy challenge and that any simple cook could do it. This comment revealed Joseph's fundamental problem. He consistently underestimated every challenge and overestimated his own abilities. During the challenge, Joseph looked over at the red team and declared they looked confused. This was more of his typical behavior. Instead of focusing on his own performance, he was busy criticizing the competition. The challenge involved cleaning shrimp, which should have been basic work for any professional chef. Joseph was the fourth person from the blue team to have his shrimp judged by Ramsey, and his performance was deemed disappointing. He only managed to clean 5 shrimp correctly, which was a pathetic show for someone who talked such a big game.
The men seem to be on the way to an easy victory.
5. Disappointed, Joseph.
Despite Joseph's poor individual performance, his team managed to win the challenge 45-44. The reward should have been a great moment for Joseph. The blue team got to spend a day at Newport Beach for a lunch of seafood, shrimp, and raw bar with Gordon Ramsay himself. They even got dessert on a 40-foot mega yacht. This was the kind of experience that most chefs would kill for. Instead, Joseph used this amazing opportunity to completely destroy his relationship with Gordon Ramsay. During the reward, Joseph managed to ruin the fun by showing complete disrespect to Ramsay. He said he was not learning anything from the world-famous chef, and that everything Ramsay was saying meant nothing to him. This was professionally suicidal.
What am I learning by shooting shit? Nothing. What gets accomplished by running your mouth? Not a thing.
Think about what Joseph was throwing away. Here was Gordon Ramsay, a chef with multiple Michelin stars and restaurants around the world, taking time out of his schedule to personally mentor the contestants. But Joseph was so wrapped up in his own ego that he couldn't see the value in what was being offered. He continued his rant, saying he didn't come to Hell's Kitchen for rewards and lunches and that he would not take his eyes off the prize. When Dave tried to calm him down to get him to appreciate the moment, Joseph brushed him off. He said it was good to get out, but he didn't care. This showed that Joseph was incapable of enjoying anything that didn't directly feed his ego. The dinner service that followed would expose even more of Joseph's toxic personality. The next day, during prep for dinner service, Joseph was already in criticism mode. He declared that Tony was in the weeds before service even started, and that he looked like he would wet himself. This was typical Joseph behavior, always putting others down instead of focusing on his own preparation. For dinner service, Joseph was assigned to the appetizer station with Jim. This should have been a good fit for him since appetizers are typically less complex than main courses and require good organization skills rather than advanced cooking techniques. Before tickets started coming in, Joseph joined Kevin and Van in motivating themselves for the service ahead. He said that he and his team would do everything they could to make sure they worked together and that he was fucking ready. For a brief moment, it seemed like Joseph might actually be capable of being a team player. But as the service progressed, Joseph's need to control everything became obvious. He made a comment about Tony needing Kevin's help on the fish station because of how lost Tony was. while this might have been true, Joseph's way of expressing it was condescending rather than helpful. Later, when Andy was struggling with consistent meat temperatures, Joseph suggested that Andy should check the temperature of his chicken with the thermometer located on his sleeve. He added that it didn't look good if Andy was wearing the thermometer just for show.
If you're sitting there all night long with a meat thermometer on your arm, why are you not checking the chickens? What the fuck is it doing in your arm? It don't look good on you.
The situation got worse when Kevin sent a raw halibut to the pass. Instead of supporting Kevin and helping him fix the problem, Joseph suggested that he should cook the fish himself because he didn't want to have a bad finish. This was Joseph putting his own image ahead of team success. Joseph tried to take vocal control of the fish station, even though it wasn't his assigned position. When it became clear that too many members of the blue team were trying to cook fish, creating chaos instead of coordination, Joseph attempted to defuse the situation by yelling at his teammates.
I know we all want to try and take charge.
I don't want to take charge.
Would you just shut the fuck up for a minute and fucking relax? You're all like chickens right now. Relax.
Ramsey was clearly not impressed with this approach to problem solving. Both kitchens struggled that night, and Ramsey was eventually forced to order both teams to send shrimp cocktails to the dining room and shut down both kitchens. During the liberation, Ramsey declared both teams losers and asked them to nominate 2 people for elimination. This was standard procedure that had been followed in every previous season of the show. Ramsey asked Joseph to name the first nominee and explain why. This was a simple, straightforward request that required a simple, straightforward answer. But Joseph was incapable of following basic instructions. What happened next would make Joseph the first contestant in Hell's Kitchen's history to refuse to give Ramsey 2 nominations and create the most shocking exit ever seen on the show. Ramsey asked him a second time to follow the instructions. Joseph finally named Tony and Andy as the nominees, but he still couldn't give a proper explanation for his choices. Ramsey called him slightly stupid and asked him a third time to simply follow the format and explain his reasoning. This was Ramsey giving Joseph every possible chance to get back on track and save himself from further embarrassment.
First nominee and why?
First nominee and why? Tony. He knows why. We sat down as a group, let everyone pick each other, you know? No peer pressure. We're men.
This was where Joseph crossed the line from disrespectful to dangerous. He was essentially telling Gordon Ramsay that he didn't need to follow the rules of the competition. He was positioning himself as equal to or above the head chef, which was professional suicide. This was the moment when Joseph's ego finally wrote a check his mouth couldn't cash. When Ramsay asked if he wanted a medal for this behavior, Joseph stood his ground. He kept insisting that his teammates knew who they were and that the team had chosen as a group. He seemed genuinely confused about why Ramsay was asking him to take individual responsibility for team decisions. Ramsay walked towards Joseph, trying to get him to come back to reality and simply follow directions. This was Ramsay's final attempt to save Joseph from himself. A smart contestant would have realized they were in serious trouble and would have immediately started following instructions.
Listen, you chippy idiot. I asked for 1 nominee and why. Plain English. And you're mouthing off and you couldn't answer me. Now can you just tell me, in fucking plain English, the first nominee and why he's nominated? Is that fucking clear?
But instead of backing down, Joseph completely lost his mind. He started rambling about how he was not a bitch and began confronting his fellow contestants. This was the moment when everyone realized that Joseph had completely snapped under pressure. In a moment of pure rage and stupidity, Joseph took off his chef's jacket and threw it to the ground. This was already a sign of complete disrespect in a professional kitchen. But Joseph wasn't done destroying his career yet. He walked aggressively towards Gordon Ramsay, clearly intending to physically confront the head chef. As he approached, Joseph challenged Ramsay to a fight, asking if he wanted a piece of him and telling him to step outside.
You want a fucking jacket? You want to talk some shit? Let's go step outside, motherfucker. You want to talk about fucking fighting?
Oh, wow.
You want to get fucking rough?
Do you think I'm scared?
This made Joseph only the second contestant in Hell's Kitchen's history to try and fight Chef Ramsay. The first was Tom from season 2, but even Tom's confrontation hadn't been this aggressive or threatening. Joseph was making history in the worst possible way. The challenge was captured on camera for all of America to see. Joseph was literally asking one of the most famous chefs in the world to step outside and fight him like they were in a bar instead of a professional kitchen. It was the most shocking moment in Hell's Kitchen history. Security guards immediately stepped forward to prevent any physical contact. The situation had escalated so far beyond professional disagreement that armed intervention was necessary to protect everyone involved. Joseph had turned a cooking competition into a potential assault situation.
You just blow your...
Cameras.
Yeah, fuck the cameras.
Yeah?
Yeah.
We can step
I'm
outside.
standing here. I asked you one simple question, and you couldn't fucking answer me. And then you want to get all tough and up close and personal.
Fuck you.
There you go.
But even with security present, Joseph wasn't finished embarrassing himself. Ramsey tried to handle the situation calmly, attempting to de-escalate the confrontation, but Joseph was too far gone to listen to reason. He continued insulting Ramsey, calling him nothing but a bitch. This was a contestant calling one of the most respected chefs in the world a bitch on national television. Ramsey had seen enough. He told Joseph that he lacked any respect and ordered him to get out immediately. Joseph's reaction was to flip off everyone in the room as he stormed towards the exit. In his rage, he almost tripped on the step on his way out, adding physical clumsiness to his already complete humiliation.
No respect.
Now get out.
Fuck you. You fucking bitch. Fuck all y'all. You heard it?
Watch the step.
Ramsey kicked his discarded chef's jacket to the side, like the piece of trash it had become. The symbolism was perfect. Joseph had thrown away his career, just like he had thrown away his jacket. Outside the restaurant while smoking a cigarette, Joseph gave one of the most delusional exit interviews in reality TV history. He said he didn't need some limey fucking prick talking to him like that. This was his way of processing the fact that he had just destroyed his own career on national television.
I don't need some limey fucking prick talking to me like that. Without skipping a beat. Go back home. I'll work.
Joseph claimed that any restaurant would hire him and that they would be proud to work with him. This showed a complete disconnect from reality. What restaurant owner would want to hire someone who had just threatened to physically fight Gordon Ramsay on television? The delusion was so complete that Joseph seemed to believe he was the victim in this situation. He couldn't see that his own behavior had caused every single problem he encountered. His ego was so massive that he literally couldn't comprehend that he might be wrong about anything. The fans' reactions showed that Joseph's behavior was even worse than it appeared on screen. The response from Hell's Kitchen fans was immediate and brutal. On Reddit and other social media platforms, viewers couldn't believe what they had witnessed. The general consensus was that Joseph had achieved something that seemed impossible. He had made himself the most hated contestant in the show's history in just 3 episodes. One fan perfectly captured the absurdity of the situation. This was by far one of the stupidest ways the contestants have ever eliminated themselves from the competition. Guy just really got riled up over the fact that he wasn't answering Gordon's question directly. The fans recognized that Joseph's elimination wasn't really about the questions Ramsey was asking. It was about Joseph's complete inability to show basic respect or follow simple instructions. He had turned a routine elimination process into a personal war with the head chef. Another viewer pointed out something that many people missed. His hostility towards Ramsey while they were on a reward was almost more bizarre than the night he got himself kicked off. Dude had something twisted up there. This comment highlighted how Joseph's problems went far deeper than just one bad night. His disrespectful behavior during what should have been a pleasant reward experience showed that his issues were psychological, not situational. Perhaps the most insightful fan comment was this. Sure, I personally think he'd make it into the Black Jackets over Suzanne, but skills don't mean anything if you're just an awful person to be around. This observation cut to the heart of why Joseph's story was so frustrating to watch. He clearly had cooking skills and could have gone far in the competition if he had been able to control his ego and show basic human decency. Instead, he threw away an incredible opportunity because he couldn't handle being treated like every other contestant. Joseph Tinnelly got exactly what he deserved, and it serves as a warning to every aspiring chef. Today, Joseph Tinnelly is remembered as one of the biggest disasters in Hell's Kitchen history. His 3-episode run is studied by fans as an example of how quickly someone can destroy their own career through arrogance and disrespect. The most tragic part of Joseph's story is that it was completely preventable. He had the cooking skills to potentially go far in the competition. He had been given an incredible opportunity to learn from one of the world's best chefs. He had teammates who were initially willing to work with him and support him. But Joseph threw it all away because he couldn't handle being treated like everyone else. His ego was so fragile that he interpreted normal coaching and instruction as personal attacks. Instead of seeing Gordon Ramsay as a mentor, he saw him as an enemy who needed to be defeated. The challenge to fight Ramsey will forever be remembered as one of the most shocking moments in reality TV history. It was the moment when a cooking competition turned into a potential assault situation. Joseph had crossed a line that no previous contestant had ever even approached. Joseph Tinnelly serves as a perfect example of how not to handle opportunity, mentorship, and professional relationships. In the end, Joseph's downfall was completely satisfying because it was entirely his own doing. What did you think about Joseph Tinnelly's epic meltdown? Was this the most embarrassing exit in Hell's Kitchen history? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more shocking reality TV disasters.